There are a couple ways we can solve this problem. I think the easiest way, though, is going to be to test numbers. So let's see whether we can identify a couple numbers that when they're divided by 12 give us a remainder of 5. One candidate that's fairly easy to spot is 17. We all know that 12 goes into 17 once, with 5 left over, meaning 5 remains. Another candidate that may not occur to you so easily is 5 itself. To understand why 5 is a possible value for D, well, what happens when we divide 5 by 12? It goes in 0 times, right? And what's left over? The original 5. In other words, 5 remains. Now that we have 2 possible candidates for D, let's go ahead and square them and see what happens when we divide by 8. When D is 5, D squared would be 25. And if we divide that by 8, well, 8 goes into 25 3 times, with 1 left over. In other words, the remainder is 1. And likewise, when D is 17, if we square 17, we should get 289. And by the way, do yourself a favor, know your list of squares at minimum through 15. And if you have your heart set on an elite score, you should really know your list of squares through 25 cold. So when D is 17, as we said, D squared becomes 289. Let's divide that by 8. If we engage in a bit of long division, we know 8 goes into 28 3 times. When we remove the 24 and we bring down the 9, we know 8 goes into 49 6 times. And when we remove that 48, we're left with 1. In other words, the remainder is 1. And as we've seen, whether D is 5 or 17, when we square D and divide by 8, we get a remainder of 1. And there you go. That's the reason here that 1 is the correct answer.